Well, good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of Drive Facebook Live. I'm Bob Spitz, along with my partner Tony Whistler.
Hey, everybody.
Tony, we don't have any guests this week.
We do not. We
So,
do,
what do you
we
want to
do.
talk about?
Well, I thought now might be a good time for us to get into a little bit of a retrospective. How has the legendary Drive Facebook Live show gone over the last year? I know we're into February now, just barely, but I thought maybe we talk a little bit about what happened in 23 because a lot of really cool stuff happened in 23, I would say.
Yeah, we had a lot going on. It
Yep.
was a very busy year for us and for the group. And yeah, a look back at 2023, that's a great idea. So, what are some of the highlights of 2023? What did we do?
Well, I'll tell you this, and I'd love for us to have a good conversation on this. We in 2023 we did 60 shows, which considering that we do one show a week, I'm trying to figure out how that worked out, but I have by good authority we did 60 shows last year.
Well, that is interesting since we don't do either one or two at the end of the year.
That's that's correct.
So that's about 50 weeks to do 60 shows. Maybe we went into a time warp. We have a different calendar we're operating on,
Maybe
Tony.
we did. Maybe we did. It's the Venus calendar. No, I was going to say it's possible, and I think this may be true. We'll see if we can get anybody to throw out whether they remember there being a show. I think we possibly did a show last year during the expo. Maybe I don't remember if we did or
Maybe.
not.
I don't remember either. You
It's been
know,
too long. I've slept since then. And
But
then
it's good that we're doing this recap now. It's all, as you said, the first week of February. And if this year goes anything like last year took about 3 weeks to occur.
that's exactly right.
It
It's
went by so fast.
That's right. I would say that 2023 was action packed and it just went super fast. There's a
Yeah.
couple of other numbers I have for you too. It looks like, of course, it is Facebook, right? It's Facebook Live. We had over 50,000 people view our shows, which I think is
Wow.
pretty impressive.
Yeah. Holy
I think,
smoke.
and that's pretty good. And then what else did I want?
Did I
Oh,
feel
one,
intimidated now?
no, you're a rock star. You're famous now. This is
I
like
see.
everyone who knows me out in the all of the drive world knows that this is the dream I've always had. I've always wanted to be famous. So I'm finally making it.
You're getting your 15 minutes.
That's right.
Actually, you're 30 minutes every week.
Every week. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that was kind of interesting was we had more than 50 guests, or around 50, I think. And of course, a majority of them were clients because, of course, part of what makes this show great and what I used to love about this show before I was hosting it was that it was long form conversation with clients, guys who were running shops, guys who were rolling up their sleeves, guys who were making it happen out in the industry. And to hear from those guys and to give them a venue where it's like it's not just a 10-minute bullet point,
Mhm.
thing. It's like a 30-minute conversation, and that's also what I used to like too, is how casual this show is. But and get them talking and get them to tell us what they're up to. That to
Well,
me,
the other great thing is it helps us realize our main purpose for the company, and that's to help shop owners realize their dreams to
apps.
live
Yep.
better lives, and of course that's got a ripple effect to their employees, and just to see all the bright application of the principles that we teach, and to see how they've taken those principles and have really made them work for themselves to produce the kind of shops that they want to have.
Yep. And I love how it's straight from them, and you get to hear how it's going. And sometimes it's actually I get a little choked up sometimes because they'll tell you stories that you can just tell what kind of condition they were in before and how they're doing now and how their entire lives have changed for the better. It's pretty profound. And I also like that because it's on Facebook Live, anyone can watch it and they can see it. And it's not some, overly produced, pitch. It's actually just the person telling the real truth about what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we can let everybody in on the secret that there is no script to these.
none, we don't do any of that. Absolutely not. And and those guys, and it's just great to hear them talk about their victories and their wins and the things that they've accomplished. And I think it's also nice to give them a little bit of a nod, like let them feel like the community can hear from them. That's always a special thing about this show that I really love. And a lot of our clients like will tune in. Like I have to assume some of them are tuned in right now.
They are, as a matter of fact. We've got Hector Linares and Marie Lioness Arcan and Dennis Guru and Mark, our guest from last week, Mark Granum. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Mark, good to see you, my friend. Well, I can't
Yeah.
see you, but I'm good to hear from you.
And the other wonderful thing about the culture of Drive, and it attracts people of similar ilk, and that is that willingness to help
Hmm.
and to share what they've done and how they've done it, hoping that other shop owners can take these little tips and tidbits and do something with them. Because some of the ideas that they express when we're on these shows I sometimes I'm like, wow, that's really clever. That's a great application of what we've been teaching.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
again, that help is so great. And that was one of the things that attracted me to Drive when I first came because I could just feel it. Everybody wants to help, and all of the clients want to help. And I think that, of course, for me personally, I had to believe that, and I just know it's true. It always comes from the top down. Like we consult our clients that when you build the culture in your shop, it's your culture. It's based on you and your strengths, and you build that culture, and it's your business, and everything stems from that. And I got to say that that's part of what I love about Drive too, is that Bill Kilpatrick is the owner of the business. It's all about help, and that just trickles way down into everybody on the team. And because of that, we consult our clients to be helpful and want to help. And I think that we attract clients who really do want to help.
Yeah,
And
they share that vision.
yep.
We have what we call a stage 6 shop, which is someone who wants to give back to the industry, which honest to goodness, it's a majority of our folks, because they
Mhm.
wouldn't get into this business if they didn't want to help people in the first place.
Yep.
The automotive industry is all about helping people with their transportation needs.
Yep.
And right from the very beginning, because the other thing that happened last year, Tony, is we celebrated our 30th anniversary.
Oh, that's right. That is absolutely
Yeah.
right. Yep. That's great.
And I remember right from the get-go, Mike Lee's vision on the whole thing is to improve the professionalism and the integrity of the automotive repair industry, because without us, the consumer has no options but to go back to the dealer, and that's not their favorite, their first choice or their favorite choice. So
Right.
this industry has got to do well and it's got to survive, and I hope over our 30 years, we've shown a path and we've helped a lot of shops. I know we've helped a lot of shops. I've been here for 29 of well, no, 30 years this year for me.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. And then, their managers and service advisors, if they go off to open up their own shops, they've experienced what a great shop should look like and how it should operate and how that should care for its customers and for its crew.
Yep. And one
Yeah.
of the things I noticed too, particularly when I was consulting a lot, um, very often it's a value to an employee who's gotten our training, and they will possibly, like, they're moving or something and they have to leave the shop that they love and they have to go somewhere else and they want to find another job. And then you'll find that they can just walk into another drive shop somewhere in their location and say, hey, this is my training. And they go, yep, we're going to just snatch them up. And so there's that kind of training that even employees can get that they can utilize if they have to, like, relocate or something. I've had more than a few clients who would hire, and I said, so he worked at another shop that was a drive shop. They said, yeah. I said, okay, well, I can pull up because I'm the training director here. I, handle the workshops. I can look it up and I can see what training the guys had. And I said, yeah, the guy's done a ton of training. And so, yeah, hire him.
Oh yeah. And I know for a fact, because I've heard this from shop owners over the years, is a service advisor who has been trained by Drive in our professional service advisor sales workshop. Well, he's definitely a wanted commodity
Mm-hmm.
because they've been taught the right way to sell automotive service.
Yep, exactly. So they have value and they can find work easily.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to mention when you brought up stage 6, of course, stage 6 is that state where a person is doing so well with their business that they want to contribute back to the industry and they want to do something, or in the community, but they want to give back more than just what they've gotten. And the thing that we have a lot of people who are so deeply committed to that idea, who are clients, that I actually have a couple, more than a couple actually, clients who are my instructors. And because they come from a background, they're still working their shop, they still run their shop, so they are dealing with the day-to-day issues and the most current things that are happening in the industry, but they have the time to instruct. And they always instruct a workshop that they themselves have been able to prove and show that they have fully been able to understand and apply and make changes to their shop with that knowledge. And so they end up instructing. And we have actually 3 people right now, and we've got
Yeah,
a
we're
couple.
developing quite a bullpen.
Yeah, there's a couple more coming on. I don't want to mention their names yet. When we get them, we'll have them on the show. But right now we have Deanna Cole and Chris Probst and Mark Bagg, who are actually instructing for us, and they're all 3 just phenomenal shop owners.
Yeah,
And
and they're helping us achieve that goal. And speaking of workshops, how many did we deliver last year, Tony? You have any idea?
I think I do. We delivered between what we call the action coaching workshops and what we call our master workshops. We delivered over 700 workshops last year.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So that is an all new high. We are trying to deliver with the action coaching workshops. We deliver about 3 a day,
Yeah. And for those
Monday
who
through
don't know
Friday.
what Tony's talking about, we have what are called action coaching workshops, which are single topic workshops.
Mhm.
There's one specific topic that we're going over at that workshop that attendees can attend. They can have conversation about it. We have exercises that they do, and then they can take whatever principles are in that workshop and apply it right away to their shop. Because at the end of that workshop, there are after workshop actions that they need to go ahead and do. And it's proved to be very successful. We get great responses on our surveys from those workshops.
Right, because it doesn't overtax the person's, like, mental capacity. Like, sometimes if you're going, oh, I've got to go to college or something, I've got to go take a class at, my local community college. It's not that word and, scholar driven. It's very much, this is what you're going to do. Here's how you're going to go do it. Go do it. And then it takes usually somewhere between an hour and an hour and a half to get the class in. It's at that one subject. And of course, because the titles are very, very definitive, they actually are very clear about what the class is about. A person with Drive can go on to the client portal, or they can go look and see what titles are there, and they just go, yeah, that's something I need to handle with my shop, and they can just sign up for that one, and then they can help fix a direct issue they're having right at this instant moment. And then it's very powerful because they see a change almost like within days. They're making changes in their shop and they go, wow, this is working. And then they fix that one issue, and then you can just tick through each area of your shop with these action coaching workshops. And then of course, if you want a more deeper Like I won't want to,
Understanding and all
yeah,
the
I
theory
don't want to
behind
call
it.
it scholarly because I don't want to scare anybody off, but it's a deeper understanding or a little bit more of a like the underpinning of why these things work. Then you can take a master workshop as well, and those usually run about 4 to 3 days a week for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and for
And
three
those are
hours a
all
day.
done, one of the things the pandemic did is it forced us to really look at how do we deliver online. And I think we've done that very successfully now for the last 3.5 years,
Mm-hmm.
getting
Mm-hmm.
that done. Now you mentioned the client portal. That's fairly new too in 2023, even though we've been living with it.
Right. It is absolutely great. It's part of the Drive apps. And if you're on a contract where you have the apps, there's many apps you'll have access to. But even if you're not with the apps right away, you'll always have access to your KPIs, which is an application to put in your KPIs so that your consultant can see what your numbers are. But you also have access to the client portal, and you can sign up for workshops and such. And then there's also a segment that you can have where you can get assignments and things like from me or from your consultant. And
Oh, by
those
the
apps,
way, Mr. Linares loved his past workshops where you instructed them, Tony.
oh well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It is a dream of mine. I've been an instructor and a teacher since 2000. And I think I think that was part of why Larry like sought me out. Larry was trying to recruit me at the time, I think. And I think a lot of it is because of my instructional background. And I love instructing. I love instructing workshops. And of course, I was kind of concerned when I first became an instructor of what the audiences would be like. Like, what are these guys going to be like? I had no idea really. I got to tell you, there is no cooler people in the world than automobile repair shop owners. Like, I don't know why
They're
it's
so
like
appreciative.
and they're just decent folk, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just really decent people, and I've just it's just been such an absolute pleasure to be instructing these guys for the last 5 or 6 years or so.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh,
been
by the
great.
way, Brittany is on from A&M, and I think that'd probably be a good segue. You have something you'd like to show, don't you,
Yes, I do
Tony?
have something I want to show, but I also want to preface it. We had two shows last year that were the most watched, and we want to show a clip from each. Um, I, I wanted to talk about the clip that happened with Brittany and with Adam Jadovich. They both, Adam is the owner, and Brittany's in a succession plan to own a company. It's A&M Automotive in Lake Elsinore, California. Um, and I just want to tell a little story about Brittany because I met her in 2017, and she was coming to Essentials of Shop Management, um, and 35 people in that workshop in person. This was when we were still doing them in person back in 2017, in Southern California. And they were all these old, grumpy, like good old grease in their blood guys who own these shops. And she comes walking in, and I'm like, is she a shop owner? And I think I'd been with the company maybe like less than 6 months. I don't even know how long I was with you guys at that point. And I just found it to be a little striking that, like, I thought, who is this person? Wasn't expecting someone like this. She was by herself. She wasn't with Adam. And of course, she's kind of was semi-local, so she was able to come up. And she was most enthusiastic and ready to learn. And she kind of brought some energy to the workshop that I found enjoyable. And I thought, wow, this is a demographic. And of course, things have changed in the last 5 or 6 years, right? There's a lot more women in the industry now, but back then that wasn't even as early as 2017. It wasn't that common, and she was great. And I want to show a little clip um, right now if I can. Let's see,
Yeah, of that show.
of that show. So here we go. I'm gonna
First time we've tried this, folks, so hang in there.
Yeah, it's a brand new thing for Facebook Live. So I'm going to share my screen, and then let me make sure I have the audio correct. Okay, So can you see my screen there?
It's all black.
Awesome. Here we go.
And then the final step was the succession exit planning. I think that's what that's called. Exit and
Mhm.
succession planning.
Succession exit
Um,
planning, yeah.
Yes. And actually Tony was my instructor for that one. And we learned a lot in that. How to have all your documents and your ducks all in a row, and knowing the value of your business, how to find a buyer, how to negotiate the sale. One of the things that I learned was you can have your taxes done to save you money, but you can also have your taxes done to make the business more valuable looking. If you're
Right.
looking to get a loan or you're looking to sell it, then you need to make sure that you keep the profit there and show the profit that the business is actually doing. And so that was an eye opener for me, that you need to do that before you're ready to sell. So Tony taught us a lot of really good key points in there as far as what you have to do way before. And for me personally, since I've been in here in this shop for so long, I've got other things that I'm doing, mostly for fun, nothing for money, that I'm spending more and more time doing. And Brittany's just taken over the whole business, and I passed the baton to her, and she's basically running the whole thing for me.
That's great.
Fantastic, Brittany.
So what do you do for fun?
I still work with my hands. I like a lot of gardening. I plant citrus trees. I have a house that I built. I didn't build the house with my own two hands. I helped build it. And I'm slowly but surely moving more of my junk down there to that house, and I spend more and more time down there.
Where's the house?
It's down in Mexico.
There you go.
Just around the corner.
Just straight down the 15 and over to
Yes.
the 5, and there you are.
That's true. So yes,
All righty.
Yeah,
So
that
what
was a
you
great episode.
It was
I've
wonderful.
known Adam a long time. He's a great guy, and it's just wonderful that he has found Brittany. And Brittany, you're watching. Once again, kudos to you, because that leads us to our next little video, another episode that was very well watched, and it has to do with female shop owners. Tony.
Okay, good. So I'll get that one going right now.
Oh, and John Starkey. Hello, he's watching. Hey, John.
Excellent. Hey, John. John's great.
In Aloha country.
Yep. And that meant that, and having John on the program just means that you can that Jim gets to go to Hawaii to do
That's right. To do
That's-
inspections.
That's exactly right. So yep, everything's good. Here we go.
And this one is about female shop
I
owners.
can add to what you were just saying, Chris, as far as technician wise with the females. We've worked in the past with like the local trade school for high school kids. And I had actually heard from some students that there was female students that wanted to be into the automotive program, and that they said it was closed, but then 2 other male students actually got into the program when they were told it was closed. So I think I know where I live, my location's completely different. We're very set 10 years behind the times now. But I could probably say that, speaking from what you're saying, is it's very hard for the women to get into it, but it also has to be encouraged, from this younger generation to say, diversity is such a big thing right now that, why wouldn't we encourage them and give them, I'm not saying they have to have so many women in it or girls in it when they're in high school, but, obviously what's good for one can't be, for the other. So it should be included for all. So it kind of broke my heart to hear that, this particular female was not able to get into the program, but then the other boys were. So.
Yeah, that was a great episode. Ties right into something Drive has long supported and advocated for, and that is to see more women join our industry. It's not the industry it was when I first started. Has tons of opportunity, and there's some great groups out there who are encouraging women to get into it, go to the trade schools, take their business acumen from whatever other industries or professions they're in, and apply it to this one. Because, you know, when we look at 70% on average of a general repair customer base, the demographics are women. It only makes
Yep.
sense that we have more women involved in the running of these shops, and these people are just fabulous at doing just that.
Yep.
So once again, my hat's off to them. And Tony, I think we're coming close to our end, and there's some other announcements we wanted to make. One of them was our YouTube channel. We've got some wonderful things on our YouTube channel, and one of them is some fabulous testimonies from or speeches rather from our masters of shop management, people who have won or have earned that that certificate of being a master of shop management at our expo.
That's great. And we also have coming up February 9th, we're going to have David Goldsmith, owner of Urban
Ah.
Classics of Brooklyn, New York.
My old friend David.
Yep.
This is a great shop out of Brooklyn, New York. His shop used to be located right underneath the Brooklyn Bridge.
I
He just
remember
ran
that.
out of space and he had to move, and it'll be great to have David on.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And then Carla is his consultant. So we'll do that next Friday.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, the expo. Let's not
Oh
forget
yeah,
about
right,
the
right behind
expo.
your head there,
Yeah, that's
Tony.
right. So it's good. It's the Drive Expo with the Toman Expo, which together we're calling it Rec Week. Starts on June 19th and goes through the 20th for the drive portion, and then the 21st and the 22nd will be the Toman portion. So and it's in Dallas. It's going to be great. I was just in Dallas last weekend doing some workshops for Drive, and man, I like Dallas a lot. I really like that town, and it's also easy to get in there too.
Yeah, there was a while in my life when I was on the road, because I was on the road for 16 years with Drive, and I always flew American. I got to the point I felt like I spent more time in DFW than I did at home.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's a major hub for them, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and if you're flying from California, you're going to fly through Dallas.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, there was one other thing. We got another minute. I thought I might squeeze a story in, talking about women in this industry, because I think it is really important. And I had a client who had a shop in Idaho. He was kind of a one-man band. I've been trying to find a tech before he came on with Drive, and he went through a couple of techs, and they weren't great, or he couldn't get them trained up, whatever it was, wasn't efficient or whatever. And they would end up leaving, or he'd let him go. And after he started with Drive, I had more than a few conversations with him where he was like, well, I know this one woman who's I heard is a pretty good tech, but she's got kids and she has to take her kids to school in the morning, and then she has to pick them up at like 3:30, and she doesn't really want to work more than about 4 or 5 hours a day. And I just can't have anybody in my shop that can't work full time. I've got too much work. And he's doing it all himself. And he goes, I can't have anybody that's not full time. And I said,
What a
well,
funny consideration.
it is. I'm like, wouldn't it just be better to have anybody that can help you? And he goes, I convinced him, and he goes, look, I'll hire her. She ended up billing about 175% efficiency.
Wow.
Like she was billing 70, 65. This is general repair. And I'm like, really? And I'm looking at it, and I really had to dig in, and she was so good. And she would come in when she needed to, because she had a kid. She'd leave when she needed to, and she made him a bunch of money. And they were pushing cars out faster than he could have possibly ever been able to do it on his own or with anybody before her. And so if you don't think, if you have some, weird idea that women can't
Can't
get the
do
job
this.
done, then you need to
Yeah,
change
you're
that.
cutting off 50% of our population.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Tony,
look,
it's
we're
been
up
a
against
great
it.
episode. I want to thank everybody for watching this week's edition of Facebook Live, and we're looking forward to great things in 2024, and we'll see you next week.
Next week. See you, Bob.
Okay, see you, Tony.